Hey, how's our summer been? Everyone been doing good? Anything fun?
I don't know. It's been a fast summer. I can't believe it's already almost football season.
I can't believe it either.
And
you're still single after all of this.
I'm still single.
Man.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Email the show, ladies. We have a Gmail account, don't we?
DUOneAndDonePod@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. We have a Twitter account too. I have a Twitter account at _Nikki_Mill.
Yeah. So So we've given them plenty of ways to contact us, and they still have not.
Well, to be fair, I mean,
how many women listen to this show? Let's be honest.
And again, I mean, like, we don't have the most. What the kids say these days, we have a lot of Riz on this show, so we don't attract many women to this.
That's the last word I ever want to talk about on this show is Riz. There's two words that will never be uttered again on the show.
Over
it's
here.
Riz and Cap. Those are the two words we will not be using on this program.
Jason Richards missed the shot for Davidson.
That's what I said, Jason Richards. Or I said Brad Richards originally, but I think that's the...
Just confirming.
Who's Brad Richards?
Brad Richards.
Sounds like a teacher.
Brad Richards. I have no Brad Richards comes to mind. Sounds like a reliever for the Brewers in like 04. So.
Brad Baston was the kicker at Noblesville High School.
Oh, Brad Richards, he was the defenseman. I think he was a defenseman in hockey. Played for the Rangers for a long time.
Okay.
Want to hear a great Kansas throwback name? Someone had a chance to hit a 3 to put it out. Sharon Collins.
I was going to say Brady Morningstar.
Missed a 3
guy.
another good one.
Yeah.
Missed a 3 with 19 seconds. Davidson defensive rebound. Davidson full timeout. Then So they had 16 seconds to get Curry a shot.
So Curry was getting double teamed.
I recall that. I remember the play.
They were begging someone else to take a shot, and Richards was the one who ended up shooting it, and he literally just clanked it off the backboard.
But you're down 2, so you should be able to draw something up where you put him as the decoy, get that double team.
I know.
And someone should be cutting in the lane.
Someone should have, and it just didn't work out.
Right.
But ultimately, I mean, the legend of Steph Curry will remain, and that's what you're going to hear on the intro right now.
The United States of America is golden. Curry for the lead. Oh! Kaboom! 5 to shoot. The cross. The sauce. And he's not nice. The flash. Curry dancing on Batum. Over the double team. Oh! It's a golden dagger. Night.
Hello, friends, and welcome into another summer pod on the D1 and Done pod. This episode is brought to you by the official Mountain West correspondent, official SEC correspondent, and benefactors of the pod, the Hagen Hall Boys. Make sure you follow us on our social media platforms. That's at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It is at D1 and Done pod. You can email us, d1anddonepod@gmail.com. That is the letter D and the number 1 and donepod@gmail.com. Make sure you leave a review. Rate us 5 stars on all of the platform or podcast platforms, whether that be Spotify. I think Google Play no longer exists for podcasts. But
really?
Or some.
Can they do a Yelp review? Can we do that?
Sure, Yelp review.
Thank you.
You can rate us 5 stars on Zillow because we are a strong house of 3 men right here.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie Donahoe to my right, Nick Mills to my left, Dusty Mills. If you're the first time listening in, welcome. We are the D1 and Done pod. The D1 to my left played at Kentucky and Ball State, and then the Done part of the pod is to my right, even though Nick had more success at the varsity level than I did. Mm-hmm. So it usually goes 1, 2, then back to 3 here. Even though I'm technically the host and I do all the work and I get paid the most. Oh, well, I wasn't supposed to say that.
What do you mean? Who makes you the host?
Definitely all the work, though.
I
do a lot of the work.
I think me and Dusty do. We're the unsung heroes of something on this pod.
There's no other option for you to be. You have to be that. That's it. It's just us 3.
Jake occasionally does something.
Eats.
He's our lawyer, isn't he?
He is he sets up interviews or interview singular.
We should mention the last time you listened to us, we had a great interview with Robert Woodard and Mitchell Storm, and we have to shout out Jake Mills for setting up that interview because he did a great job getting that together. And yes, the Fail Harder TBT team had a tough.
They failed hard.
Had a tough run going out in the first game. But hopefully that's just the start of bigger things. You know, you got to kind of go through your lumps and get some growing pains in before you can make a run in TBT. So again,
well, honestly, I mean, that's the thing that I kept telling Jake before that tournament. It's like some of these teams, they legit like practice and prepare all year. I know they have real jobs, but they're prepped for this thing. And just that game alone, I'm sure we'll get into it, is you could tell one team had an offense and one didn't. And I was texting Jake throughout the game. And I'm not trying to be critical. I'm being critical without trying to be like
you're being
negative.
critical, but that's okay.
No, but without being like,
constructive criticism.
Correct. And just saying, look, man, you guys have no offense. Like, or have you put plays together? So,
well, I thought it was more about Butler than was them. Because, again, Butler
seemed
they're
too
the
prepared.
Butler
They
system.
played like a team.
Yeah,
They
correct.
100%.
And Sean
played
McDermott looked very good.
Yes,
he was
did.
smooth out there.
Wow.
Wait, it's Sean, right?
Yeah, Sean McDermott. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. My favorite part was so when the IU and Purdue alumni teams played, IU obviously won, and the IU fans were just taunting Purdue fans. And all I had to do was just look behind me and see that Final Four banner that's from recent, not from 2002. So
And shout out to Kentucky TBT team. Beat Louisville and got
That was a great
fought
game.
their almost cussed. Fought
Glad you
them peoples.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
That
did
was
you
good.
just cuss?
No,
What'd you say?
He said he had fudge for lunch.
Oh, you had fudge for lunch. Okay.
I didn't say the F word. I said fought.
Oh, fought.
Oh, fought.
Fought.
Okay.
I thought you said something different. I thought you said a different
not
word.
fought. They fought.
And
F-O-
someone may or may not have had some saliva in their face in that process as well. I assume you saw that as
It was
too.
Saliva-gate. It was very
Saliva-gate.
It was great. Yes, Kentucky Louisville rivalry back on. They
Can
just need
we-
Pat Kelsey and Mark Pope.
Can we play Kentucky Louisville at Freedom Hall just like once every year or two? Like that was such an amazing
Shirts and skins.
environment. It's, literally, if you want to play it as an open gym game, like that was so cool.
Fun fact: Dusty is 0-1 at Freedom Hall, right? Is that?
Yeah, we lost to UAB. Robert Vaden went off for
Wow,
Mike
Pike's
Davis
finest.
and the Fighting Blazers in that game.
Robert Vaden was still playing at that time, man. Wow, I know, shocking. Gosh, Nick can't even believe it over there. Jeez,
Oh, sorry. Gosh.
some strong bourbon or water? or-
Wrong tube on that
Wrong
one. Throat
tube.
game is not quite there yet, so
all
trying
right.
to get better.
Guys, 76 days until the college basketball season officially tips off. We are closing in on being 2 months away. There is plenty for us to talk about. We're going to talk about conference realignment, impact transfers, our top stories. We're going to mention a little bit about USA basketball. You heard it in the introduction. Big gold medal for the USA men's basketball team. And we should mention the women's team played a great game in the gold medal game against France as well. So we'll talk about all of that as well. We'll also get Dusty's thoughts from his trip to Kentucky because we haven't had a chance to really scratch the surface on the, again, exhibition, not scrimmage.
It was not a scrimmage.
Don't
It
say the
was
S
not
word.
a scrimmage.
Don't say the S
So we
word.
have to make sure that we clarify that going forward. All right, guys, what are your thoughts in the offseason going into a new season of college basketball?
Well, Robbie, I saw yours, so I thought
You did see
I want
mine.
to start with yours. I think you should
Okay.
go first because I think yours is probably maybe the biggest talking point.
Right. So I think there's much is going to be made about UConn going for a three-peat, as it should. I think this is still going to be a very good UConn team, and as long as Dan Hurley's still the head coach of UConn, UConn's still going to be really good. I think we are on a collision course for a Kansas-Alabama national championship game. Those two are clearly the two best teams going into this season in college basketball. If you look at Alabama legitimately, I mean, I know it's almost football season, they have a two-deep. Like, they could run a platoon system kind of like what Calipari did with that national title team. They are so deep and so good.
They weren't a national title team, just for the record.
Oh, they did?
They didn't. They were not a national title team.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so I just that hurt. I don't know if you're trying to be mean right there.
I was
but-
not trying to be
okay,
mean there. No. That was
that's what you're doing.
a little bit of a slip there on my part. I was not trying to be mean. But so Alabama literally getting two transfers in from Auburn, which is hilarious. You get probably one of the best transfer options on the market in Cliff Amore. You bring back Mark Sears. There is nothing about this team that does not scream national title worthy. And then you flip the page. Kansas is taking the script of being old and being experienced and taking it to a whole nother level when you're bringing back DeJuan Harris and Hunter Dickinson and getting A.J. Storr in the transfer portal. I feel like these two teams are so far and ahead, the two best teams going into this season. And be honest, if I had to pick right now, I mean, I would pick Kansas and Alabama in the national championship game, and I would not even think twice about it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, not much to add other than I don't know if it's as big of a gap as you might think, but I do think they are probably the two favorites. I do think Gonzaga should be mentioned this too. Bring back Graham E. Kane, not Andrew Nembhard, Ryan Nembhard. And then they got a couple other transfers in, so I think they should be in conversation. Again, UConn is always in there, and I'm sure there's always some team we never see coming that'll be a 1 seed this year. Sure. Houston's probably in this conversation as well. But it's also too interesting, like, Kansas, you have like Kansas, the blue blood. But Bama's what we won't call them a new blood at this point.
That's a good way to put it.
And then UConn is, I guess, a blue blood now with 6 natties in 25 years,
UConn's
which is
definitely blue blood.
Which again we've talked about before is crazy. They have 6 natties in 25 years, and what? Half of those other years they're irrelevant in college basketball.
Below 500. So it's crazy.
So it's not quite the usual name. So I think it's just very fascinating going into the season.
I think Alabama this year is going to be just a fascinating tale of. I mean, they shot the lights out in that tournament run. Like that, the win against Clemson. Like Mark Sears went 6 for 7 from 3 in that game. Crazy. Can they keep that up for an entire season where their schedule is nasty? They are playing a ton of really good teams. So can Alabama keep that going the entire time? It's a fascinating storyline. You mentioned Houston. You mentioned Gonzaga. They're all going to be very experienced and very good. LJ Cryer is back for another year. So is Emmanuel Sharp at Houston. You mentioned Gonzaga is basically bringing the same team back, but adding Michael Ajayi from Pepperdine. Mm-hmm. So I'm right there with you. But I think, maybe not as big of a gap as maybe my voice may have insinuated, but I still think it's a pretty large gap with 1 and 2 and then everyone else behind him. So that's what I look at for going into next season. Nicholas, what's your storyline going into a new season with this offseason?
I think mine, Robbie, I think it's interesting. Like, first of all, a ton of coaching turnovers at major schools. Also, Kentucky, Arkansas, Ohio State, Michigan, Louisville, USC. I'm sure someone else I'm even forgetting. West Virginia can probably throw in there if you want.
Yeah.
But I think to the counter of that, we hear a lot about college ball too, transfer portal, people leaving, and there's still obviously a lot of that in college basketball, but I think there's a lot of guys returning to their original schools from last year that I think are very exciting. I mean, listen to these names: R.J. Davis, Hunter Dickinson, Caleb Love, is it Johnny Broom? I always get that wrong.
Is it Johnny or John I? I can't remember. That's
the
a good
Broom
question.
fella from Auburn. We already mentioned Mark Sears and Grant Nelson, Wade Taylor IV, L.J. Cryer, Ryan Nimhard, Lipsy from Iowa State, Kalkbrenner. And that's just, there's probably a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a ton. So as much like frustration as there is of like, guys leaving and teams changing, and again, there's a lot of that still, and I get frustrated with it, but still, I think there's a lot of interesting names coming back to their same school. By the way, R.J. Davis, I think, is the only first-team All-American coming back, but still, I think Dickinson was and Caleb Love. So that's what I'm looking at. I think it's interesting that a lot of coaches kind of switched, but a lot of the players came back too.
I'm shocked at how bad R.J. Davis was in that Sweet 16 game against Alabama.
Probably why he came back.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't go out like that.
That was terrible. He was so bad in that game. But yeah, a lot of, more so than ever, and we'll talk about it as we get closer to the season, the freshmen are not going to win in college basketball because college basketball is getting older and more experienced as you get that. Finally, we put the COVID year behind us, thankfully, after this year. But upperclassmen is what's winning college basketball because now the older players are staying in college hoops because they have a reason to with NIL. You're going to see that across the board in college basketball from here on out. The old teams are going to win.
Well, and also should be noted too, like last year's draft, there wasn't many like one and dones in a lottery. So like we've had a weird kind of lull, or like the Thompson twins a couple years ago not going to college. There's like, so now all the great freshmen are necessarily going to college more too on top of it.
Agreed. Dusty, your offseason storyline going into a new year.
Well, I'm just looking at, so we're going to talk about conference realignment. We talk about Alabama, and yeah, I'm with you that Kansas and Alabama are going to be the two probably premier teams next year. So I was scrolling through just the ESPN latest, way too early top 25. 5 of the top 15 teams on their list are from the SEC.
Yeah.
So Alabama, even if they go in at, let's make a record 21-10, now what would you play, 30?
Yeah, 31.
34 games to get to the conference championship game. They're playing against just such good competition. And I honestly forgot about how much Texas A&M had brought it and has coming back.
They've got a ton
and
coming back.
Wade Taylor coming back too.
Yep.
He may average 25 a game next year. Oh, God.
He'll try his damnedest.
He's definitely going to try. There's no doubt about that. So I just think it's the whole conference realignment thing. Changing these conference schedules, playing more and better teams more often. Sadly, there's going to be a gap where I feel like the mid-majors are really going to fall even further now that these dominant conferences are going, which...
That's another topic for another day. I know. I agree to an extent, but I hope it doesn't fall as far as I think we're making it.
I'd be more curious when we talk about that. Maybe our next podcast, we dive deep into a bit like what ends up happening with like a Gonzaga.
Yeah.
And if that affects them. So I think conference realignment's a big thing, but we don't have to discuss that deep today. We can talk more about how good Steph Curry was at Davidson.
He was very good.
Definitely do.
He's very good.
But it's funny that you talk about conference realignment because that's one of our big talking points going into this season. Is it is going to look so different next year. And I'm going to run through all the teams that are leaving their former conference and going to a new conference. Some of these you probably did not know.
I was going to say, we need to play a game. Nick will be all over this because he's so good at this stuff.
Right.
You should quiz me on, because like if you ask me to name this, is it 16 in the Big 12 now?
There's 16 in the Big 12, yes.
I bet I could.
And then 18 in the Big 10. So
18
the
in the Big
numbers
10.
just throw them out the window.
Well, I
at
mean,
this
there's
point.
been 11 in the Big 10 since 94, so it doesn't really matter.
I think I could get the Big 10. Big 12, I do not think I get all 16
Well, I think
teams.
this is interesting too.
And I
'cause-
follow sports people. Like, let's be clear.
Yes.
Well, I
You
hope
do.
so. You're on a podcast with us. We appreciate that, sir.
Correct.
But like, obviously, conference alignment, it's all using the lens of football, right? So I think it's very
Right.
interesting to kind of look at this through the basketball lens. Like, we'll get to it, for example,
Yeah.
like the Big 12 as a basketball conference now is
Oh,
insane.
gosh. It's going to be nuts. Okay, I'll give you a couple softballs here. So we'll play this as a game. We'll put a little game.
What conference are they in?
I'll put some game show music underneath this, and we'll make it even better. All right, let's start off with some easy ones. Arizona and Arizona State are leaving the Pac-12 and going where?
I know not the Big 10.
Okay, what's the other option?
Big 12.
The Big 12.
Okay.
Arizona and Arizona State are going to the Big 12.
And I only knew that because the Big 10 on Twitter put out their little, where they do their little
Oh,
map
the
thing.
Game of Thrones thing? Yeah.
Yeah,
uh-huh.
and I knew that Arizona State weren't on it. So that's the
Correct.
only reason I got that
Yeah.
right.
Quick side tangent is we're more of an SEC guys. You, me, Crab. I do love that Big 10 thing they do. The map thing.
It is great.
I enjoy it.
You know what they
It's-
should have done, though? They messed up. They definitely, marketing team messed us up. When they did that thing, why did they not do the CBS music?
They should have. I don't know why
That
they
would've
did
been-
because they have
That would have been a
those-
home run
Yeah,
right there.
they have the rights to it now, so I don't know why they did.
You should
That's a
the
good question.
and you just watch it going from LA through
That would have been really cool.
to Rutgers.
All right, let's do Oklahoma and Texas. Those are easy.
Obviously, SEC.
Southeastern Conference.
I can't wait to
Good
do
job.
so much horns down at the SEC tournament
All right.
next year.
Oregon, UCLA, USC, and Washington.
Big Ten.
All going to the Big Ten. Very good. Okay, let's get a little tougher. Chicago State. They weren't independent last year. What conference are they joining next year?
I have no idea. Missouri Valley.
That's a decent guess, but no, they're joining the Northeast Conference.
Oh, wow.
So good for them.
Good job, Chicago State.
Throw Mercyhurst in there as well. They are also joining the Northeast Conference, so good for them, going from D2 to D1. Very excited for that.
What was that name?
Mercyhurst.
Mercyhurst.
That was
Yeah.
like the new girlfriend.
No.
Sound-
Let's go Kennesaw State. They were in the
Ooh.
Atlantic Sun last year. What are they moving into?
I feel like Southland would be going down. So I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess. Gosh, it's not the SEC.
Can I give them a hint?
Sure,
they're,
go for
they're FPS in football now.
They are FBS
Oh,
in
wow.
football now.
Shoot. What's like the Lafayette Sun? Sunbelt.
Close. You should have gone with the other one, Conference USA.
Wow.
So Conference
Wow.
USA.
Good
Big,
for-
big
good for
jump
them
for
as
Kennesaw
well.
State, right?
Okay.
Really
Gun
excited
in my
for
head,
that.
I'm not actually not sure I could pick apart who's in the Sun Belt and who's in Conference
Oh,
USA.
gosh.
It is a
Not
mess
anymore.
now.
No.
When I was in middle school, I could name every team in every conference in college basketball, and now I'm just
Well, it's
lost.
just like Marshall went from like Conference USA to Sun Belt, so there's a lot of like turnover
Marshall
like
could be
that.
the only team in the Pac-12 right now for all I know.
Let's bring back the Pac-12.
Okay, got any others?
Okay, speaking of the Pac-12, Oregon State. What conference are they in?
Well, it's
For,
just it's
for football,
Didn't we just talk about this? It's just them in Washington State, right?
but they joined a conference for
They're
basketball.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
Did they really?
Yeah, they did.
Breaking news live on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought
they
they were
did.
still Pac-12 technically.
Mountain West.
They are in the West Coast Conference. So Oregon State and Washington State will be with Gonzaga,
Wow, that is
Portland,
demeaning.
Loyola Marymount.
San Francisco.
San Francisco's in there as well.
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara? That'll be a pretty decent
Loyola
conference.
Marymount, did I say them?
Yeah, I said Loyola Marymount, yeah.
Then we had all the teams. I didn't. Are you sure about that?
I am
genuinely did
100%
not.
Okay,
Sure.
so can we stop there before we keep this game going? What do you think it was like seeing those boardrooms of those two schools?
I don't know.
And just being like, the late Bill Walton, rest in peace, love him. Conference of Champions. Everyone left us.
So I slightly
Like-
lied. The
Oh,
Oregon State and
okay.
Washington State they are going to the West Coast Conference,
Okay.
but they're waiting a year.
Gotcha.
So one more year. So 25-26 they will join. There's also coming starting in 25 as well, 2 more schools are joining the West Coast Conference.
UC Santa Barbara.
It's a good guess, but no. They're coming from the WAC.
The New Mexico State?
Think of the team that made the
Utah
tournament.
Valley.
Think of the team that made the tournament this past year that we fell in love with that just lost their minds with the crazy student section from the WAC.
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon is joining the West Coast Conference, and this one has a very, very famous basketball player that went there. You're close. Go up a little north. Farther
Idaho
north.
State.
North. You're going
north.
east.
Vancouver College.
That's too far. You need to come back south.
I'm
Washington.
going to Montana on Friday. I'm trying to do geography right now.
Okay. Seattle. Elgin Baylor.
Seattle University.
Good job, Nick.
So Seattle will also be joining the West Coast Conference in 25. That's not a bad basketball conference, if you're asking me, honestly.
We're adding some depth to it,
Yeah.
So I like it.
So pretty solid overall for the West Coast Conference. I like it. Okay, let me give you like 1 or 2 more. Sacred Heart is leaving the Northeast Conference and joining what conference?
Colonial.
Good guess, but no.
American East.
They're again another good guess. The MAC.
The
They're the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Remember, guys, it's not the Colonial anymore.
Correct. It's the Coastal.
Correct.
It is the Coastal.
Also, F-off rider.
West Georgia going from the Gulf South Conference in D2. They are coming into D1 and joining what conference?
They've got to be Sun Belt.
They are Atlantic Sun.
Okay.
So again,
With Liberty.
With Liberty, correct. Yes. And then let's see. I'll
Football
give you
powerhouse these days.
Let me give you one more.
We'll do like more Cal and Stanford.
Okay. Oh gosh, you may not know this. Cal and Stanford. Yeah. What conference
Are
are
they
they joining?
ACC?
They're joining the ACC.
Two things I want to say on that.
That's terrible.
First of all, like the idea like Cal at Wake Forest November 18th in football is the conference game is going to blow my mind. And shall the ACC Twitter account, when Kayla Decky won her gold medals, they said something like hashtag ACC made. Something like that.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Gosh. Let me give you 3 more that are joining in 25-26. Delaware is going to Conference USA, leaving the Coastal, which is going to feel really weird because Delaware, the Blue Hens, those are our guys right there. Joining Conference USA.
They're
That's
a
gonna be weird.
staple of the
I
CA.
know. Missouri State going from the Valley to Conference USA, going into this will be their last year in the Valley. And then UMass. The Minutemen are joining the Mid-American Conference. They'll be in the MAC starting in 25-26. So there was a lot of talk about them potentially coming back to the Big East. They are joining the MAC.
We need to have a live broadcast or live pod from the UMass Ball State game.
Ooh.
I think
Great.
I think that move's interesting because that's clearly like UMass is a basketball school, or they have more history with basketball, but that was clearly just for football, right?
100% for the football,
because like that's a downgrade, 8 in the MAC in basketball, but like you got to do it for football.
You got to do it for football, and UMass has been independent for football for a little while now.
Yeah, because they were in the MAC for a little bit.
Correct, and then they got out, went independent. Now they're back in for all sports across the board. So that'll be pretty interesting.
Which
so
is
there's
crazy.
your conference realignment.
That's where we're at, and like teams will do stuff that's detrimental for the basketball program, even when they're better at basketball. But that's just stinks for UMass basketball.
You know what's
Very
amazing
much so.
too about all this realignment? I know we're getting on that topic later. Is the fact that I didn't realize until this week that college football, real quick, that Notre Dame can't get a bye.
They cannot be a top 4 seed,
because they can't win their a conference tournament, which is
that's
interesting.
that's a whole other topic of conversation.
Yep. Again, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's on my mind.
No, that's fine. We had to mention our pride and joy, the Mountain West, didn't make any changes. They're still the same, and we respect that completely. They're going to continue to get 5 to 6 teams in the tournament and lose all 5-6 games, and we're going to love them for every second of it.
No, Robbie, this year's the year.
This is not the year, Nick.
No, it's not 2025.
25, absolutely.
That will be the year.
San Diego State, we thought that they broke the mold, and finally the Mountain West had broken through. And all 6 teams that made the first round lost last year.
No, San Diego State.
San Diego State did win, yes.
No, it turns out the Mountain West is not breaking through. It's San Diego State
Correct.
has broken through.
San Diego State is the team that's broken through. Colorado State, I love you forever, but never again. That will not happen. No. Same with Boise State. Boise State's been really good over the last 5-10 years, and geez,
They always stick them in their first four, though.
I know.
I
every year.
I bet they've probably made the tournament every year the last 7 years. They're probably in the first four of them.
And they played a close game every time they're in the first four.
Remember
too,
that one year they played Dayton in the first four?
That was, and they almost won that game. I was. Everyone for sure was like, "There's no chance Dayton loses at home in the first four," and Dayton had to come back to win that game.
Yeah.
I remember that.
December 14th, Texas A&M and Purdue are playing in Indianapolis.
They sure are. Indy Classic.
Are we doing something for that?
You want to?
Well, yeah,
We could.
You guys cancel on a date?
kind of.
I've been.
Yeah,
That's fine with me.
Can you hear
I
me?
was gonna say you're cutting in and out.
Yeah.
Try again.
Hello.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Robbie's bragging
Oh,
on
there we
being the
go.
host earlier. He's got your mic messing up.
You got to earn your stripes here.
He's just wanting to go to. There
Oh, yeah,
it is.
you sound so
it's-
much better
It's
now.
definitely back now.
Yeah, there you go.
December 14th, A&M, Purdue, Indianapolis.
It's like because
We could do something.
I remember Purdue played Arizona in that last year.
Yep. And the second game is Wisconsin Butler, I think.
Ooh,
Double check that.
rematch the 2010 Sweet 16 for all you kiddos out there.
Because last year it was Ball State and
Valpo,
I think.
Something like
It
that?
was not great. Butler, Wisconsin, game 2.
okay. Shout
All
out
right.
the Indy Classic.
So the Indy Classic, everyone said when IU dropped out and the Notre Dame followed suit, the Indy Classic's not going to be any good. Well, now IU can't schedule any good teams, and Purdue's just laughing in their face
Oh,
about it.
they're while we're on IU, their non-conference schedule.
Oh, dude, no.
They might as well just be tailgating
No.
around the state and playing all the high school
No,
teams.
we're not talking about
like a
It's so
traveling
bad.
circus within the state.
Yeah,
I love
like
that.
the Globetrotters. Like that's literally what they're doing.
That's one of the Good God.
Sorry, Joe Steele.
That's just like that. That's a high school coach that's like a 4A school playing all the 1A, 2A schools, trying to load up on wins to make his overall record look better. That's what Mike Woodson's doing. That's
Dave
exactly
McCullough.
what he's doing.
Thanks for listening, IU fans. As always, we appreciate you greatly.
And we'll see you
We
next
do love
time.
you all. We love you all so much.
All right.
Remember,
let's,
I went to IU, so
let's
keep
talk
going.
about some new faces and new places, huh? We've got a impact transfers list.
Okay, one last thing about conference alignment.
Sure.
I just want to say, just for I don't remember which conferences. Not everyone makes all the conference tournaments anymore.
Correct.
So look out for that now, people.
I believe Big Ten is one of those conferences. Only 16 teams make the Big Ten
and
tournament.
I
out of
believe
18.
SEC, everyone still makes it. Big 12, I know, not everyone. I think it's like
Correct.
15, 18. So yeah, I forgot to look that up yet.
We'll get clarification on that next time we come around. But so there's an impact transfers list. There's a top 100 that is listed by Busting Brackets, obviously the foremost authority in college basketball.
Where they do the brackets.
Busting Brackets. That's what they're called. I'm just trying to give them their proper due and give some get some credit where credit is deserved. But they've got a top 100 list. I went through the 15 guys that they believe are the top 15 impact transfers. I want you to pick out one of these 15 that you think will be the most impactful. Okay? So, John L. Davis will be at Arkansas, coming from FAU. Umar Ballo going to IU from Arizona. Kadari Richmond going to St. John's from Seton Hall, which feels like quite the heel turn. Mm-hmm. Jeremy Roach going to Baylor from Duke. Cliff Amore, we mentioned him. He's going to be at Bama going from Rutgers. Norchad O'Meara going to Baylor from Miami. Jonas Adu joining John Calipari at Arkansas from Tennessee. Robbie Avila following his guy from Indiana State and going to St. Louis. Tremont Mark going from Arkansas to Texas. PJ Haggerty from Tulsa to Memphis. AJ Story, we mentioned him from Wisconsin to Kansas. Great Osobor from Utah State to Washington. Tucker DeVries, great shooter from Drake to West Virginia. Trey Townsend from Oakland to Arizona. And then we end it with Jackson Robinson going from BYU to Kentucky. Of those 15, the most impactful will be who? I'll give you my answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
I honestly think it's going to be Jeremy Roach.
That's literally what I was going to
He is
say.
perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect for Baylor. He is not a very big guard. Baylor really uses their guards so well. And if you are a good in-your-face, man-to-man defender, you will find a place to play for Scott Drew. And I think Jeremy Roach is perfect for what Baylor is looking for out of the guard position. Norchad O'Meara is a really good ad as well. That replaces Yves Missy when he's going to the draft. So I like Baylor a lot. They're a top 5 team for me going into the season, but I think Jeremy Roach has the opportunity to be the most impactful out of that list.
So I have two, but they're kind of two different answers. Like, I think Kadari Richmond going from Seton Hall to St. John's, like, it will affect.
Patino's going to let him just let it fly.
I love Kadari Richmond.
Yeah.
But this thing, like, will affect, like, who's going to win the national championship? No, I don't think so. But again, St. John's makes one of their conference foes a lot worse. I think he's just that good.
Right.
So I can't quite say it, but I think it's Cliff Amore going to Alabama because I think what they didn't have last year, they had 2 years ago when they were the number one overall seed, is rim protection with Noah Clowning. And hopefully now with Cliff Amore, they can have that down low.
Oh, yeah.
Especially you might have to go against Hunter Dickinson or a Graham EK down low. So I just think that's the thing they're missing last year. Especially Grant Nelson's going to be your small ball 5 at times. Sure. And I think they can play with each other. So I think for me that'd be our boy Cliff Amore.
I mean, Alabama only has one guy on this top 15, but you could throw Youngblood in there too. The guy from South Florida. That dude's a baller. He's so good. So Alabama obviously basically brought in a brand new team, which there's the NATO's philosophy. Just go out and just get those what's the word?
What? Shooters?
Not missionary. I can't think of the word. It's escaping me.
Is missionary on the
Doggy?
bracket busters
No.
thing? Okay.
What is it called? It's the person that you hire out to be like a hired gun.
Oh, Hitman?
Not a hitman. Oh gosh, I'm gonna
A hired gun? Okay, you're told Nate Oates, right? There's so many jokes that can be made right now.
A private army. Private
Oh, a
army.
militia.
No.
Minutemen.
No.
I don't know.
Is Minutemen on bracket busters?
No. The word is escaping me.
Okay, so I'm
generally like,
yeah. So you hire a gun.
There's gonna be a lot of editing on this one.
Okay, but
No, we're
did
keeping
he
this in.
deliver the gun? No. Did he know the gun was in the vehicle?
This is what the concussions do to me. I legitimately have brain fog on these kinds of things. So anyway, okay. So
Real quick, another transfer like that could like have a huge impact but in a different way is Wugpa Poblar.
Wooga Poplar, yes.
To try and
I literally was about to say his name.
just for one
Wooga Poplar, yes.
for one reason alone to try and just save Kyle Neptune's job.
Oh, it's not going to happen.
Right.
There's no chance. No, Neptune's done from Villanova after this year. They were so talented last year.
So good.
And they were so bad. They got better at the end of the year, but they were... Okay. So...
I'll give you an
Who's
underrated
yours?
one that because I was looking at some of these I had forgotten about because I did not do my homework that well. I forgot about Tyrese Hunter going to Memphis.
That's a sneaky one. He had so much hype leaving Iowa State. I mean, Purdue was in on him. Texas ended up getting him, and he was just above average at Texas. He was okay, but...
He's fine.
Good player, but like he didn't set the world on fire like we expected him to.
Can we make our IU fans upset again?
What do you want to talk about? Miles Rice, Kane, and Carlisle?
Shooters.
I mean,
Not shooters.
I truly don't know. I know on our last podcast,
They got Luke Goody. Goody can shoot.
It's Ballo, right?
Omar Ballo, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
How much?
You know what? You know
how
what
much
he
they
shoots.
paid for him?
You know what he shoots from the free throw line?
It's probably like 48%.
47%.
Wow,
You were very close. He shoots 47% for the. They paid $1.5 million for a guy that shoots 47% from the free throw line.
Good work, Hoosier.
They're gonna be better this year. They're
They will.
going
They
to be
will.
better.
IU.
They will compete for tournament spots. They'll be right there.
They'll be a tournament team,
Yeah.
and I think they'll be a top 20 team.
But again, it is
Trying to save our
building
fans.
is building through the transfer portal the right way to do it in college basketball. For some teams, I think it works. For Alabama, they've shown they worked, but I mean, I'm curious how it's going to work at Arkansas with Cal.
And right, it's about what guys you bring in too, like the roster construction of it. What Dusty just pointed out. What?
This lady can't get in the apartment.
Oh no!
Yeah, I live in a gated community, everyone. So that's how much
You
money
ain't getting us.
You ain't getting us. Come and find us.
We got better security here than what happened at a previous presidential conference. And there's your politics mention for the show. I got it ahead of you.
Just look left every time, Robbie. You're all good. Right? Do you look left?
Great.
Right?
No, he looked right.
Looked
He
right.
was right.
Gotcha.
Good job. Anyone else on the transfer list that I'm missing? I love the Trey Townsend from Oakland, Arizona. He was
Who?
Exactly.
Okay.
He was. I actually went back and watched the full game of that just to get the entire scope.
Is this what you do in your free time?
No, yeah, I watch college basketball. It's what I do.
Another one.
Trey Townsend was so good in that game, and he was really good in the NC State game too. So
Do you think another one you may have mentioned him, AJ Storr?
yeah.
Do Do you think he just looked around the locker room and said, "What the hell am I doing here?" and just went to Kansas?
I will never understand that type of player
Ever going to
Wisconsin.
It's always that one player.
Well, it's like if you are this standout athletic wide receiver, why are you going to Wisconsin
Or Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech at least has had Calvin Johnson.
Well, why'd he go?
R.I.P. Demarius Thomas too.
Great receiver there too. But yes, you are right. Yes, why? If you are a standout receiver, why in the world are you going, or like one of those kinds of players, you usually want to be around similar cultures. Like Wisconsin is not that culture.
I guess you could argue like you're going to get all the shots because they just need him to be the scorer. So like if you want to go there and be the guy who shoots.
That's why Chucky Hepburn left too. That's why Chucky Hepburn's not at Wisconsin anymore. So
that's why I went to Kentucky.
There you go. Anyone else I'm missing off the list?
Just for our teams, where'd Gillis go for you? Where'd he?
Mason Gillis went to Duke. He will be at Duke next year, and then Ethan Morton went to Colorado State.
Okay.
So those were the two that were. I'm trying to think if there was another one.
The funniest transfer I think we were showing in the last pod. Debo Davis going from Arkansas to Oklahoma State. Like sure.
Okay,
knock yourself out.
I still think Kirk Reese is the most hilarious one of them all.
Can we talk about another transfer that I'm stunned by?
How do you kill?
I don't know. Another transfer I'm stunned by. Another transfer I'm stunned by.
Yeah.
So, did you guys see Cal's comment about Big Z?
Mm-hmm. I think I sent it to the.
So he made a comment about basically telling Big Z he shouldn't shoot threes. Like that. That's not what he needs to be doing. Why? Well, we can talk about that later.
Because it's John Vincent Calipari.
Then why the hell would you not stay with Pope and follow Calipari?
Yeah, that was the most Cal just thing ever. Like, don't shoot threes.
Yeah,
like
so you could stay there and be in a system that's going to allow you to do that. And
that would have been the perfect system for him to be there.
Thank you. But yeah, he had a comment, Robbie. I should have sent you a quote where he was basically. It's the most Cal quote ever. Everyone who's ever listened knows I love John Calipari. But he was just like, you're not shooting threes. Why would you shoot threes? You're a big man. Get in the paint. And that's a synopsis of it.
You know what? That's the Purdue mentality right there.
But it should be noted, in his first game last year, Big Z hit 5 threes. Like, so he can shoot
obviously he can shoot. That's such an... I don't think he's going to do well at Arkansas.
I don't either.
I think it's going to be... I think it's going to fall flat on his face. I don't see it working out.
I think he ends up in the NBA again.
That would make a lot of sense.
That's just my hot take. So
do you think they want him though? I just don't really think he runs like an NBA offense. You know, he could be a good assistant or something.
He runs an offense?
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think he runs any offense.
I don't think he runs any offense. Who runs more offense, IU or Kentucky?
Well, now Kentucky.
Now, last year,
who
was running more half court sets? Was it IU or Kentucky?
Oh my God!
It's probably a push between them. Maybe Kentucky.
I would say IU because, like, again, they couldn't rely on a Rob Dillingham just give him the ball, so I think they had to somewhat set a screen here.
What game was it when IU hit no threes? Which
I think that probably happened a couple times.
Hello again, IU fans.
Yes, hello. Great that you're here. Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe. All right. Am I missing? So nothing else on the transfer impact?
All good here.
Okay. I know Purdue didn't do anything in the transfer portal because, good teams, they build from within. They empower the people that they have returning. That's
Ohio State got Caleb Downs.
Yeah, they did. That's football.
I know, but you're saying impact transfers. Just throwing it out.
We're going multiple schools then.
Last one I'll say, I didn't know
multiple sports.
Cleef Battle was going to Gonzaga from Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Another weird kind of one, Mark Mitchell went from Duke to Missouri.
Yeah, that's
kind of another random one. Now we're just
he was kind of like the perfect Duke player. Honestly, I was shocked that he left.
I was shocked too.
So, okay, now that we're on the topic of Duke,
last one, Golden left FAU.
Yeah.
I
mean,
going to Michigan.
Yeah, he's at Michigan now.
Remember,
he went with Dusty to Michigan.
That would make sense. Then. Thank you.
Yeah, it was an exodus in Boca Raton.
Before we jump into the charity exhibition schedule, a couple games that we'll talk about there. What do we think of Cooper Flagg? Is this gonna is he just gonna tear the roof off, average 25 a game at Duke, or is he going to be like a good 15-8 player? Like, where do we land? Is he going to take Duke to a Final Four? We know he's one of the most talented players that have come through college basketball in the last 5-10 years, but where is he on that Zion level in terms of hype, I guess?
So I think it's harder because Zion had a body that Cooper doesn't have.
Yeah.
But if you watched him compete, I don't know if you guys watched the footage of him playing against the Olympic team. I mean, he was
impressive.
balling out.
Yeah, he was impressive.
Getting, like, Drew Holiday was up in his grill, and he was, making moves on him, and then someone else would switch on him and get around him. I mean, he the guy can play.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, again, it's college basketball, so you never know. Like, is he trying to save his body? Is he?
We should mention congratulations to future Washington Wizard Cooper Flagg on his freshman season at Duke.
No, the Trailblazers, don't count them out, Robbie.
If the Wizards get the first pick, I wonder if Cooper Flagg finds a way to get out of being picked first.
The Wizards, the
That's
Pistons.
only the last op. Like, I'll go to Detroit over Washington.
I don't know. Nick and I have talked about it. I think the Hornets is where you don't want to go. Nice weather, but
Yeah, I think.
I would go to Charlotte over literally any team over the Wizards. The Wizards, you if you're talented, your talent goes to die in Washington. Literally, that's where everyone trades all of their pretty decent players. Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, and
I'll see Charlotte's in that boat too.
not as bad though.
It's fair.
They're not as bad. Miles Bridges,
Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, all kind of die there.
I mean, LaMelo had a great first season, and then he ran into injuries. So I mean,
played like 9 games since shot LeVar Ball in those shoes.
Yeah, no, those shoes for sure.
But Cooper Flagg, I'm
Yeah.
buying all the stock.
Okay.
I'm so mad he went to Duke, but it seems like he was linked
he's
to the
gonna
whole
be a
time.
baller.
He is. I'm buying all the stock. And is he win Natty? I don't know, because again, we mentioned Zion lost in Elite Eight himself. Like, it's hard.
Should have lost to Central Florida.
Should have lost to
They
Central
should
Florida.
have. That missed layup right at the rim by Dawkins. That was Aubrey Dawkins, wasn't it? That missed that layup? Okay.
Aubrey wasn't great. He was magnificent.
Quiet. It's young players don't win games anymore in college basketball. They can help you, but they're not the forefront leader. That's why everyone anointing Rutgers as this incredible team with you got Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey. Okay, fine. They're going to be really good, but people picking them to be like a Final Four caliber team, no. Freshmen don't do that in college basketball anymore. It does not happen. You need to have experience. You need to be old as we're going forward. All right, let's move quickly to our charity exhibition game schedule. This has now become the new thing to do in college basketball. Charity exhibition games. You play a really good Power 5 team, you win or you lose, and it doesn't matter. So you get some experience. You get an opportunity to play in front of a hostile atmosphere like Purdue did last year. I don't know if you remembered last year. They played at Arkansas in front of a sellout crowd, which was awesome. And that team ended up making the national championship game. Not Arkansas, Purdue. And Arkansas had the season that they had. Mm-hmm. So here are the 4 charity exhibition games that I've been able to find so far. Xavier is going to play at Dayton on October 20th. Tasty game. Purdue is going to be at Creighton on October 26th. Fun game. Houston will play Texas A&M neutral site. Good game. That's a rematch, isn't it?
They played.
Didn't Houston A&M play in the round of 32
Yeah, they
last
did.
year? Okay, so that's a rematch.
And the regular season, too,
That's
last
true,
year.
they did. And then Illinois goes to Ole Miss. They're going to play that game in South Haven, Mississippi. So a couple decent matchups there. But again, you have nothing to lose in those games. You play against another really good team. I know the secret scrimmages are another thing that a lot of teams like to do, but I think the charity exhibition game is now the new thing to do in college basketball. Purdue's been doing it for the last couple of years, and it's been very beneficial for them. So something to keep an eye on.
Also, because a lot of teams do the overseas thing still. I know
That too,
Louisville
yeah.
did that as well. But yeah, this is it's something, right?
Yeah,
Might as well.
It gives us something. I mean, it's in literally the first one of those charity exhibition games will be in 2 months, October 20th.
And we're
Xavier Dayton.
And we're pro charity on this pod, right?
Oh, 100%.
Just so for the record.
100% pro charity.
We probably won't donate to one, but I'm pro charity.
I donate to charity.
When I was at Ball State, we scrimmaged Eastern Illinois. I don't think it was charitable.
Did you guys lose?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
What quarterback play at Eastern? I guess there's 2 NFL quarterbacks that play Eastern Illinois.
I know one.
Romo, right?
Tony Romo was one. What's the other one?
Good-looking dude.
Jimmy.
Jim.
Oh, Jimmy.
Wow, that you
Jimmy
really
Garoppolo
got
played
that.
Eastern Illinois. Yeah, I forgot he played at Eastern Illinois as well. So, yeah, very nice. USA basketball. I know we're a college basketball pod, but we would be remiss if we didn't talk about another gold medal. But I think we can kind of turn this and angle it towards talking about college basketball. So there is no denying that the international game has caught up to what the U.S. has been. The U.S. keeps winning gold medals, though, and they keep doing it in impressive fashion in terms of down by 17 to Serbia and coming back and winning, or having to hold on against a French team that's, a nuclear team with Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert. So
Yabusele, shower dude.
Gosh, Yabusele was incredible.
The French Ben Wallace.
He got who signed Yabusele? Sixers.
Sixers.
That's a good signing. I like him a lot. He reminds me. Do you remember Ike Diagu from Arizona State?
Yeah.
A better version of that. That's who he reminds me of. Is college AAU in the U.S., are they truly preparing future generations to be good in these kinds of environments? But also, just are we preparing kids to go to college and be really good professional basketball players?
This is such a loaded question, right?
Very much so.
Because I think the number one thing is they've caught up completely. Like, not completely caught, but the strides they've made internationally is crazy. From what they were in 1992, like, it was inconceivable that USA would lose to any of them. So, I think the majority of credit goes to them. And, like I said, this has been a conversation for a lot of people, the whole AAU system. Are we doing this right? Because, again, most of the NBA players are
Were you asking that question? Because I was going to say no.
What?
We aren't doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would agree with that too.
Backwards. It's backwards. Yeah. I'll let you keep going. So my point is, real quick, is we're playing all these games. Okay, fine. We were doing that when we were coming up, when we were playing Super Hoops, when we were playing AAU, whatever that may be. We were playing 3-4 games a day. These guys overseas are practicing more than they are playing, which that's how it was in high school and middle school, where you were practicing every single day, and then you have 1 to 2 games a week. Now it's 6 to 7 games a week, and you're practicing like once.
Yeah.
So you're learning bad habits across the way. You're learning to play in games, but you're not learning to play with other people. I think that's kind of what's setting back the game of basketball right now, and also part of the reason why, in those big-time moments in the gold medal games, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, all above the age of 35. That's why they're on the floor. Now, they're superstar elite players, but there's a reason why, because I think they came up in a better circuit of basketball than where it is right now.
Yeah, I think another kind of cousin to that, like Russell's talk about this, so what they ran to is like a lot of one-on-one trainings. Mm-hmm. So like you're not practicing with other people, so they didn't learn how to play with others. And Russell thinks that's happening in basketball too. So when you do practice, you're not necessarily practicing as a team, you're practicing one-on-one or with a trainer, so you're learning like individual skills rather than back cuts and all that. Right. But I will say that, like, again, most of top NBA or a lot of top NBA players are international. But again, like, the majority of NBA is still American players. Like, I don't think we're in a complete like crisis mode per se.
Definitely not.
But
crisis
there's definitely
mode.
Things we can improve upon.
I wonder if it gets to a point where if they wipe the slate clean and just like kind of like, so if you probably won't remember this, but when Germany won the World Cup in 2014, but before that, in 2000, I think it was, or maybe it was 2006, they went out really early in the tournament, and it was terrible. And they basically said, we got to start over, start fresh, start from scratch. So they completely revamped the way they play, and then 8 years later, they win a World Cup. Does it get to that point, I'll ask you, does it get to that point where the U.S. completely bottoms out in the Olympics and USA basketball just wipes the slate clean? We got to start brand new with a new AAU circuit, a new way that we bring kids up through the middle school, high school system.
So a couple things. First thing I'll say is I keep hearing the comparisons where people talk about, could this team beat the 1992 team? I think it gets remiss and forgotten about that. If the 92 team doesn't happen, that's what made basketball a global game.
Very much so.
So the reason they didn't have as many NBA players in that Olympics is because no one else played basketball.
Right.
And they made the game international. So I think that gets forgotten about.
One of the only international players that was in the NBA at the time was Tony Kukoc.
Yeah.
I think he was the only guy that was
I'm not sure he was in the NBA yet, though, too.
No,
I think
he was coming into the Bulls. Because I remember.
Trying to get him at the time.
Yeah, because they talked about in the last
I think
dance.
there's like 6 or 7 technically, but it's one of those things where I hate that. And I just hate those discussions. It's like different.
There's no comparison. It's a different era. It was a different team.
Yeah, I think it's hard to watch. I mean, the game, like every sport, I mean, no different than like in football, running backs aren't worth a damn anymore. Every game changes.
That's why the Colts are great.
With every that's a good random thought. With every era, I do think that the lack of commitment to a team has become a thing, which is unfortunate, and that's what caused the transfer portal, NIL, and NBA, and the NBA putting super teams together and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think it does start from the ground up, and I think in high school, though, the AAU system, the problem is there's so much damn money that gets funded into it that these coaches are more focused on getting paid by the not to call them out, but I will. The Indian Elite is the main one in Indiana.
They had a big change over the summer.
Yeah, and
the guy that oversaw it had an offshoot. He's starting a brand new AAU program.
It's all money driven. It's all funded. It's all,
and that's part of the reason why U.S. soccer is where it is as well, is because it's all pay to play. Like you go overseas to those academies, like they're practicing every single day. And yes, they pay to be in those academies, but everyone has the opportunity to play. You're not paying to get into these teams, and I think that's kind of partially what we're doing with basketball now. Like for these prep schools, like IMG, Montverde, Oak Hill Academy, Overtime Elite is the worst one.
Yeah.
Those guys are not learning good habits at Overtime Elite.
No, the problem is too is these kids are getting this money put in front of their face. I mean, I lost a ton of kids in AAU when I coached AAU 10 years ago because they wouldn't show up on a Saturday. I'm like, where are you? And their dad says, oh, so-and-so offered $500 to switch teams, which isn't a lot of money, but
that's still,
at that time, it's a lot of money. And now it's the same thing where these kids, talk about Overtime Elite, they go to these programs, organizations, or G League teams and whatnot, and they see the dollar signs, but they don't realize they're going to go there and have a bad experience.
Yeah.
Here's a good experience.
I thought you were about to say Kenny Catchings at BYU.
No, yeah.
I mean, maybe he has a good experience. I don't know, but that's one of those culture things that I just don't.
But it's the communication and relationship side of every. I mean, it's a business thing too. It's just like you really want to go. You're driven by the money, but are you going to get the experience that you would have in a different situation? I think that's what's driving so much of this all the time, especially on the college level. And it's just building up because, like you said, on the international level, they are building, like you and I, when we had 10 of us growing up and playing basketball for 10 straight years together.
We were practicing 3 days a week, and then we'd play games on Saturday.
And for those that don't know, our senior year team that, remember, Robbie unfortunately didn't play for because of his concussions, we went 20-3. We're one of the top 5 teams in the state, but we were picked to finish second to last in our conference because no one knew anything about us. But we had this cohesiveness and this chemistry that people around the state didn't understand. They just saw, they have a bunch of kids who didn't play varsity junior year. So
but we've been playing together since fourth grade.
Suck, and we went undefeated in the conference and beat the crap. Excuse me, beat the crap out of everybody. So
it's also, I think it's.
So yes, to answer your question, I hope USA does not bottom out. But
see, I still don't think we're in danger of bottoming out
I don't
at
know
all.
if
I think two things. I think AAU system could be fixed in a lot of different ways, but I still think USA is in decent shape. They still have the majority of NBA players.
There's more talent,
and I still think they've gotten a little unlucky. The fact, like, I don't know, 5 of the top 7 players in the world are international. I don't think that stays forever. Like Cooper Flag, Anthony Edwards could probably join that too.
Put it this way,
maybe, even though he had a hell of Olympics.
I'm glad you said that. Like, Bogdanovich, does he make the USA roster?
No.
Probably not.
Absolutely not.
Who's another one that showed out?
I mean, Dennis Schroeder always plays well in that.
Yabusele from France.
They would not make the USA roster.
Nick Batum is always playing for France.
Evan Fournier?
Evan Fournier is
How
still
old
with
is
France.
Batum now?
He's in his late 30s, I think.
Yeah. So I guess
Yeah.
I was more being an old man and talking about how I hate that there's not the cohesive and teamwork anymore, but we're still the most dominant country for sure in basketball.
And I think it does help in those situations as well, is those guys also grow up like on Serbia, on Greece. Most of those guys are playing with each other when they're young, like because they play on those. You're right.
Yeah, sorry, I was just screwing up my chair. And
I think most of those guys, they're like the Spain team that gave the U.S. all sorts of problems in 08 and 12. The Gasol brothers, Rudy Fernandez, Sergio Llull, Ricky Rubio, all those guys have been playing together forever in EuroLeague, and they knew how to play with each other. And I think part of it, and this kind of the American way as well, it also is kind of cool that, we focus so much on the NBA and professional, but it's really cool that we can get all of our best players to play together, even though they never have, and still find a way to win a gold medal.
And at the same time, we have William Gabriel, who can't even play in the NBA.
South Sudan
has given them.
That South Sudan team.
Shout Luol Deng.
They were fun to watch, I will say that.
They're going to continue to get better and better, I think, because I think they.
Who's their coach? He played in the NBA.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
They got
a good team.
Say I know we're a college basketball podcast. Just the Olympics, it was so fun watching all that.
Awesome.
That semifinals and finals by the USA basketball were two of the best games ever. Steph Curry going nuclear at the end.
The Olympic basketball is probably my favorite brand of basketball, and
Right.
that's between college, NBA, like across the board.
It's so good.
Those games are so good and so much.
We need
fun to
FIBA
watch.
refs to ref college basketball for a
Oh
month.
my gosh,
we need
That's
them.
for
we need
sure.
them for NBA.
Yeah.
And back to college, Royal Ivy, Texas.
Yeah.
Ah,
Was the
forgot
coach
about
for
Royal
South
Ivy.
Sudan.
Yes, good name right there. Wow.
And I just want to make this point too. Wasn't cool? Also, first of all, shout Serbia. They won the bronze and partied their what's
Behinds off.
It
Yes.
was great.
That was so cool.
Also,
I saw a clip that showed that it looked like Joker had more fun in the bronze medal celebration than he did
than
in the
winning a
NBA finals.
championship.
Yeah.
Yes,
No.
100%. Which I wouldn't blame him for someone that he loves his country. It really cool. Yeah.
And again, just as someone who is 25 and grew up watching Steph, LeBron, and KD, it was cool watching them kind of have like that last moment together. So it was
Really
great.
cool.
It was kind of cool too. Like, so they gold. That's kind of like the end of someone's career. Jokic got the bronze, kind of in the middle of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Then Wemby, silver at the beginning. It's kind of
It's fun. It's
kind of a beautiful thing.
It's a fun way to see it all. And I still say that 08 USA Spain gold medal game still will be the greatest basketball game I've ever watched.
What does Kobe say? I'm gonna run through Paul's chest.
That was in the group play game. He said that.
No, it was the gold medal game.
It wasn't the gold medal
No,
game.
it wasn't?
No, it was the group play game. Yeah, but still, he sent a message, and Pau didn't forget it. So that game, I watch that game every couple months, and still astounded at just how high level that basketball was. Just extraordinary stuff. Really, really cool.
And don't forget, like, again, USA also got bronze in 04. They lost
They
to
did.
Greece in the World Championships in
They did
06.
indeed.
They
lost to Germany in the FIBA World Cup couple years ago.
Oh, so was it Germany?
It was
yeah.
Greece in the FIBA
told
World Cup
recently, yeah.
in 06, which if they don't lose that game to Greece in that 06 FIBA World Cup, they probably don't get the redeem team in 08.
Right.
So they take their lumps in the FIBA World Cup games, then they show out in the Olympics. That's kind of how it's ended up turning out for them. All right, Dusty, we have not had an opportunity to catch up with you on your trip to Kentucky. For those who didn't know, Dusty went down and was invited as an alumni to enjoy and check out a Kentucky basketball exhibition, not the S word. And we want to hear some stories, experience from your time being there.
First of all, during the 2011 NBA lockout, Royal Ivy finished his degree at Texas.
Good for him. That's awesome.
It was awesome. So I think I've mentioned before, I've been shockingly invited back to be part of this alumni
Brought
group.
home a
Brought
true
home.
Kentucky alum.
Brought home, and credit to Coach Pope, who I met on this trip. Well, I met him when I was younger, but shook hands again with him. He wanted to get something where they truly bring all the former players together. And so I got invited. I have a list of events I'm going to this fall.
Nice.
A couple of football tailgates, Big Blue Madness, all that stuff. So we got invited to watch the new Kentucky team practice against the TBT Kentucky team.
La Familia.
Yeah, La Familia, who made the Final Four, right?
I believe
Before they
so,
lost to Ohio
yes.
State. Ohio State's team, what do you call it?
Carmen's crew, yeah.
And first of all, I was floored. The new Kentucky team beat the hell out of them.
Really? Who was the best player from that, you thought?
I didn't know because I didn't know the names. It's funny because every year, I mean, if you start shouting the names, like every year we joke about, or at least Dad and I, our father and I do, about how it takes me about 5 games to learn the roster because I never followed recruitment because I know Cal's going to bring in all these names. So I know the names of the guys who came in, but watching them, it's not like I was sitting there with a program or something.
Yeah.
But the offense was so fluid. So from a game standpoint, it's so much fun to watch, and Kentucky just ran them off the floor, which is mind-blowing. But it was awesome. We took a huge picture afterwards. I think there was about 55 of us that were there, former players.
Huge photo.
Large photo.
Large photo.
Not the largest photos ever taken, but it was large.
We got our good pal Nate to do the Trump impression.
Yeah,
Does
we
a good
do need
one.
him.
Yeah.
So it was just, I was with a couple of my former teammates, and my wife and I went out with one of my teammates, AJ Stewart, afterwards, and ran up a bill that was to
Large.
high because he drinks really good tequila, apparently. Drink responsibly, kids.
Of course.
But it's just been so cool to be invited back to these. And again, like, I'm trying to think of a big name that was there. Not Rajon. Romel Bradley was there. Mm-hmm. And we hugged. And
was Joe Crawford there?
He was not. I would love to see Joe again.
Well, if people don't know, Ramel Bradley was the point guard of the 07, 08 Kentucky.
Yeah, so the team that I was on, he was our senior captain.
Tayshaun?
I have not seen Tayshaun, the two things I've been at. But it's just cool to go back to those things. You see everyone truly being like, I watch encounters with former players, someone from like the 82 team, the 96 team, where it's like, hey, I've heard about you, brother, but I've never met you. And you have these random conversations.
That's cool.
So I would hope in the next year I have plenty of more stories to tell and hopefully some huge names that hopefully we'll get on here.
I was going to say, we got to bring them on the pod.
And talk to. But just it's been awesome. And I talked to Coach Pope for about 30 seconds. And just, hey, you won't remember me, but when you played for the Pacers, your dad and I actually knew each other at, and I said Tom Abernathy at the IBA.
Sure.
And as soon as I said Tom Abernathy, his face lit up. He's like, oh my gosh, you know Tom?
Oh, that's awesome.
And he was like, please tell him hi. And he's like, please keep coming back to these events. He asked me quickly, like, what team I played for, because I'm sure he was like, who's this manager standing next to me? And I was like, and I said I was on Gillespie's first team.
Percy, you think we're going to get Gillespie appearance at all if he keeps bringing back old people?
That would be amazing. If we could get Gillespie on here to tell stories.
Oh, my gosh.
That's our white whale.
Yes,
Billy
that is.
Gillespie.
Billy, we're gunning for you. I'm coming for you.
Billy, first off, is he doing? I hope he's doing better.
I mean, he's alive. I'm even trying to be a smart ass when I say that.
Okay.
So I know he left for some health issues. I
haven't checked his stat. He said he was coming back at some point last year, but I don't think
at the end of the season.
Okay, maybe he did. Okay.
Yeah. So our white whale is Billy Gillespie.
Him and Tom Crean. Those would be the two that I would want to get.
We don't want Calipari. We don't want the corpse of John Wooden. We want Gillespie and Crean is who we're
Gillespie and Crean.
For.
That's it.
But I'll wrap it up quickly. I mean, very cool, and just being around teammates and players, and in the last 2-3 months, I've met. I think I said earlier, like Ron Mercer, Tony Delk,
awesome.
and they won't remember my name, but just shaking their hand and being like. It's one of those things too, where once again we're sitting in this game at Rupp, and there's maybe 100 people there, and Haley and I are sitting there next to AJ Stewart and Paris Stevenson and their wives as well, and I'm just looking around like I still cannot freaking believe I played here, and it's
cool.
Very cool. So it's flattering. So it was a showcase. That's the S word.
Showcase. There's the S word we can use. Yeah. Nicely done. All right, well, we'll have some more stories and fun moments to talk about from that, and hopefully, again, we'll get an opportunity to catch up with some former Kentucky players who want to hop on the pod and join us for a guest appearance. We would love to have you on if you are listening to this right now. So that'll do it for...
One last thing.
Sure.
So just because Maui, the bracket got announced.
Maui bracket, yes. Please give us the Maui bracket. I totally forgot to mention the Maui bracket.
First of all... They're back on the island this year.
Which we're very excited that they're back on Lahaina. Yes. And for those who don't know, they went through those terrible wildfires, and they're still recovering from those. And actually, I can't remember what news outlet did a big story on that a couple days ago. Those people are still recovering.
Yeah.
So the hope is, you bring these people back, they bring in some more money, more tourism funds that can help kind of restore the area. But yeah, they have a long way to go, but we're very excited that they're back, and we obviously wish the best to all those on the island of Lahaina, and hopefully they're doing
Before you announce it for our fans, Royal Ivy got married in 2023.
I love these Royal Ivy stats. This is fantastic.
He also is a coach for the Rockets, which I should have known.
We could call that the Royal Wedding.
Oh!
Mm-hmm. There you go.
There you go.
All right, your Maui bracket again. We're back at
Lahaina. Yep, Lahaina Civic Center. Yep.
It's like starting from going down, it'd be Memphis versus UConn, which is very interesting.
Solid game.
Colorado versus Michigan State.
Colorado won't be as good this year, but Michigan State, Jeremy Fears supposedly has been lighting it up on their European trip. So,
what did Izzo say after tournament last year? He's gonna die trying to get back to the Sweet 16 or Final Four. He's gonna die trying. So,
all right, well,
be on the lookout.
I'll go get your coffin, Tom.
And then the game I'm most excited for in the first round, Auburn versus Iowa State.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be great television.
Bring your lunch pail to that one.
I cannot wait. And then Dayton versus North Carolina. So a really, really good field this year.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. A lot of hype around Iowa State this year. They bring back almost their entire team. Remember, I was all in on Iowa State to start, and then I started watching them more and more. I'm like, these guys really?
Lipsy, my boy's back.
Taman Lipsy's back. They got a good team, but I will be curious to see if they will actually live up to the hype going into next year. So this will probably be our last real summer pod, because the next time we pod will more than likely be in September, and we'll start getting closer and closer to the point where we can start previewing the real thing as we get closer to tip-off. Again, 76 days until we get this whole thing underway.
So we're 1 week away. We're 176 minus 7.
Oh, boy. You were literally the only person in the world that was thinking that at that moment.
There's probably at least one other person.
No, you're the only one.
At least one.
You are the only one.
Milo.
Milo's I got that, Nick. Good job.
I can do math.
Any other end of show shouts that I'm missing?
No, I love that Milo call out, because we're like, no one else gets that joke who's listening.
Milo will definitely listen and let us know, yes.
Shout out Todd Frist, who's been a very good listener to us.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah. Tyler Frist. You haven't.
Taller. Only he's going to know that, I bet. I just said Todd. I apologize.
Tyler's eyes.
Sorry, Ta. You call him Ta?
Tohhhh.
Hawk Tua?
Ta. Good to know. Okay.
We're off the rails now.
Yeah. Any other shouts that you want to give out there?
It got announced today. Cal coming back to Rupp February 1st.
Oh, yeah.
Mark your calendars.
February 1st, everyone.
We have to be
Have
there.
to be there.
Oh, I'm sure your dad will make sure that you guys get there. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I don't have any other into show shout outs. Well, okay, I'll shout out myself and my little summer endeavor here. So I needed a hobby this summer, and
Oh, yeah.
I have fallen deeply into sports card collecting. So if you want to follow my sports card collecting journey, I am on Instagram at Indy_cards18. I'm so deep into the weeds on this, but it's been a lot of fun. I've actually gone to some card shows and been like a seller there and had a lot of fun.
Nerd.
So I am 100%. This is me nerding out here. On top of that, my wife and I are building a gaming PC here in the next couple weeks. So that's me right there. Indy_cards18. 500 followers, baby. I'm getting there. But it's been a lot of fun.
Probably more than us.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got more than the pod. Yeah,
Get your followers involved.
maybe I should.
Like when you give me crap for not getting sales, like I got us a sale and I'll get more followers for us.
Well, I've put all my energy into that, and I've kind of taken away my energy from the pod, so I probably need to kind of
When we start
reassess
getting
the
out free
percentages.
ads on the pod, by the way, we're just promoting
This is my podcast. I can do what I want with it.
D1 and done.
Do you want to run all of our social medias and do the rundown every single time?
Let me get on the...
Oh,
You
actually, never
could, though,
mind. I
at
lied. Don't do
the
that.
card collecting stuff, you could just have little, like, by the way, my podcast is...
I will have to start plugging the pod.
But no, shout out to you, Robbie. You've
Thank you.
You've been all in on it. You seem like you really like
I will
this.
say
far
Rob's
in.
been very dedicated to this.
Invested in more ways than one.
Invested as
monetarily, mentally, physically, emotionally.
Maybe going through divorce. We're not sure.
I sure hope not. Gosh, that would suck. I don't want to go back to Nick's lifestyle. That would be terrible.
One of us. One of us. Come on.
That's not happening.
You have plenty of time to collect cards at that point.
Good.
You're right. Great point. Can't say anything to that. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the D1 and Done Pod. We appreciate all you listening. Maybe you're There's nothing to watch. You're listening to us.
Big Brother's always watching.
That's a
so
good
we're talking
point.
to them.
We are talking to them as they hear us, and I'm sure Siri is gathering all of my information as we speak. So we'll be back again for another show as we get closer to the start of the college basketball season. For Dusty Mills, Nick Mills, I'm Robbie Donahoe. Thanks for listening to this episode of the D1 and Done Pod. We'll see you next time.